Okay, can I ask if you can come in, if you don't mind? We normally have a microphone and stuff going, but we've got an event going on upstairs. So we don't want to interrupt the event that's going on upstairs. So I said I'd probably talk loud enough for you all to hear me. So hopefully you can hear me at the back. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for coming this evening. My name's Gary Hall. I'm the Chief Exec of this great museum. So for those people that have not been here before, welcome. I hope you enjoy the scooter exhibition that we've put on for you, and hopefully entice you to come back and see the rest of the museum, which is the size of 3 football pitches, believe it or not. It's a bit like the TARDIS, and we're closely reaching 500,000 visitors a year. So please do come back with your friends and family, and hopefully you'll get us up to that magic number. Okay, I'm not going to talk for too long, so it gives me immense pleasure to welcome the Lord Mayor of Coventry, Councillor Tim Saunders.
Well, thank you very much, and I won't keep you very long either, but here we have another wonderful example of what this museum can put together. And I gather this is the first time this collection of every British-made scooter that ever existed has been put together, and it really is absolutely wonderful, and a first for this museum, a first for the country.
It is, yes.
And just makes me want to say one thing, really, that we don't do enough in Coventry, as Coventry people, to broadcast exactly what fantastic things we have in this city. And this museum is a first. It's fantastic, and we really ought to shout from the rooftops more often what we have got in this city, rather than grizzle about what we haven't got. So here we have a fantastic museum, yet again a wonderful collection. So it really is thanks to Gary and all his colleagues that have put it together, so perhaps we can show them a round of appreciation.
Okay, I now need to refer to notes, unfortunately. I've got quite a few thank yous to say, so forgive me for referring to my notes. Obviously, warm welcome to Councillor Tim Saunders and Lady Mayoress, who's somewhere. Hello, Nikki Saunders. Thank you for coming. Also, a warm welcome to our Coventry's very own pop star from the 60s and 70s. Sold 1 million records, I understand.
11.
11 million. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Mr. Warnock. I shall sack the note writer. Who's kindly agreed to officially open the exhibition for us this evening. Roger Lomas, again another chap in the music industry from Coventry, Grammy award-winning record producer, and I believe you were both in the same band.
Yes.
Is that right? Oh, just make sure the notes were right. The Sorrows.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah, very good. I'd particularly like to welcome Robin, because if it wasn't for Robin loaning us his great collection, then we would have this fabulous display for you. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but Robin was telling me today that his collection is normally held in 3 different locations, and this is the first time it's ever been together in one place. So it's a lovely thing for Robin to be able to see his bikes in one place at the same time. And I believe Robin's happy to chat to any of you that want to probe him about his collection and why he did it a bit later on. I'd also like to welcome Nick Jeffrey from the British Motorcycle Charitable Trust. The Trust has helped us put this exhibition together and helped with some funding. So I'd particularly like to thank the Trust for putting their trust in us to put on an exhibition that I think does the collection some justice. You may have noticed at the back there with the Coventry sign, we've got a Lifan motorcycle. That's been donated to us by Roy Eden of Coventry Motorcycles and Scooters. Every exhibition that we do in here, we always have a great prize. And one of my team, Clive Skellen, I call him my chief blagger, because Clive always comes up with something interesting for a competition. And what we do is everyone that enters the competition, we ask for their email address, and they then get put on our database, and then every 2 weeks we send them a newsletter. And what's really good is that when I started at this museum, we had about 700 people on our database. we've now got nearly 10,000 people on that database as a consequence of the competitions that we run and other events we run at the museum. So that's nearly 10,000 people that every 2 weeks get to find out what's going on at this museum, and has helped us obviously grow our visitor numbers to nearly 500,000 that I talked about. So you're welcome to take part in the competition if you wish. The forms are there, so please do take part, and the draw takes place at the end of the exhibition, so hopefully we get many thousands of interest for that as well. I'd also like to welcome some people from magazines. We had a magazine, All or Nothing Scooter Club, came in earlier today. He couldn't make this evening. So Martin Sticky Rain came in this afternoon. Did some photographs and so on, so hopefully we'll get some good press from that. Mao Spencer, I believe, may be here this evening. Welcome, thank you very much for coming for our classic scooterist scene. And Julie Brancusi from the Telegraph, I think, is here somewhere. I think we were hoping Andy Bevan would be here, but I'm not sure.
He's stuck in the net, he'll be here in a few days.
Okay, good. Andy's from ITV Central, so hopefully you'll see some footage on the ITV news about this great exhibition. Finally, and I am saying finally, I would like to thank my team. They have done an absolutely fantastic job. If you came here 2 days ago, you wouldn't believe that they were going to create this. Some of the team, my workshop team, Chris, another Chris and Andrew, all went to Robin's lock-up storage facility house, and collected the bikes yesterday. And they arrived last night at 9:30. So they worked tirelessly last night and today to make sure that the exhibition was put on, as you see this evening. So a great thanks to them, and I know Steve, who curated the exhibition, wanted me to make sure that he passed on his thanks to those people that helped us. And I believe Bev and Clive, someone else from my team, rang in last night and volunteered to come and help as well. So thank you, Bev. Thank you, Clive. So that's it. I believe I've thanked everyone, but if I have missed you, then I do apologise. But thank you all for coming. Robin's going to talk about his collection and the reasons behind his collection for you. And then following that, there will be some food available, some canapes and so on. So please do stay with us, enjoy the food, and enjoy the exhibition. Thank you very much.
Well, good evening. Thank you all for coming tonight to admire the new exhibition of scooters. When I tell people I have a collection of British scooters, a lot of them say things I couldn't possibly repeat tonight. And most of them look at me and smile and say, why? Why? Well, in 1958, I was 15 and had a very early morning shift in the paper shop, which means I was able to read all the scooter magazines and dream of owning a British scooter. Because my father taught us to buy British, and I wanted to be a little bit different from all the lads on the Italian Lambrettas and Vespas that filled the streets. But when I was 16, I couldn't afford a scooter. So I had to put up with a 49cc moped for a while. And then after getting some work, and a year later, I did buy a second-hand British bed-mounted cross scooter. I became stuck to the dual seat. We went to work together, we went to college together, we went out in the evenings together, including, of course, dancing classes, so we could meet the girls. And I enjoyed 2 years like that. Of course, after that, I sold it and bought a car. It was much better for the girlfriends, and I could say, I own a car now. Even if it was a 1937 Austin 10 I bought for 35 quid. During my working life, I owned a number of motorcycles, but I still had an interest and fond memories of my 1950 scooter. In the 1990s, an opportunity came up for me to own a classic scooter. I wasn't too keen on having an extension built to my home. But my wife said, if you have an extension, you could have two things you've always wanted. A classic scooter and a jukebox. With some Don Fardon tracks. And so it was. I bought a classic scooter. I joined the Vintage Motor Scooter Club. I bought the scooter magazines. I went to shows. And I bought another scooter. And I bought another scooter. Until I had a large collection of cycle motors, mopeds and scooters from around the world, including some from the Czech Republic and one from Poland. However, every time I bought a scooter, I thought, and I'm sure my wife thought, where is all this going to end? There is no end to this collection of scooters from around the world. There are no fixed collection boundaries. And strangely enough, the answer came from the Czech Republic, because a chap in the Czech Republic had helped me with the restoration of a Czech scooter, and he came over to stay to attend the Stafford Classic Bike Show. And he said to me, why don't you do what I do? Only collect scooters made in your own country. Only collect British scooters. And why not try and find every British scooter that was ever made? Well, I had to think about this because it would mean selling my cycle motors, selling my mopeds, and selling some wonderful and pretty German and Italian scooters. But I thought, I do know some people who own some very rare British scooters that might sell them to me. And I have built up a very good scooter network so people could help me find the different models. So it could be done, and it should be done. There should be a complete collection of British scooters. I thought I may even be able to have an exhibition or write a book on my collection. Over a 5-year period, the collection changed. I sold the wonderful German scooters. I sold the flashy Italians, the cute French, and the rare Czech and Polish, and replaced them all with British motor scooters from 1946 to 1970. It took nearly 5 years to write the book, and I also had 15 minutes of fame on Radio 4, a programme called The Completist, about people who had completed a collection. And then I had a call from the Coventry Transport Museum. They said, we'd like to have an exhibition of British scooters. I said, fair enough, how many would you like? 5 or 6? They said, no, I hear you have a collection of 40, we'd like to show them lot. There was a dead silence. Fear and excitement fought each other. How do I get 40 scooters to Coventry? Chris, how do I get 40 scooters to Coventry? But wouldn't it be great to have them all in one museum gallery? And it is great, because this is what you see here. My collection of 40 British scooters, shown in grand style, with period images and memorabilia by Steve Bagley and his team, with a little help from the British Motorcycle Charitable Trust. And on the subject of thanks, there are people here that have helped with the collection, helped with restoration of the collection, and given guidance on writing the book, and I'd like to thank you all. And I'd like to thank especially my wife, who suggested that I buy one scooter for the extension. And since that time, she's given me full support in building up the collection, writing the book, and preparing for this exhibition. The exhibition is laid out in chronological order from the tiny 1946 Corby to the bizarre 1970 Aerial 3, with 4 of my favourite scooters in the centre section. These machines, as a lot of people will say, are not the best scooters in the world, but they do show what the British manufacturers did during the 1950s scooter boom. Some of those manufacturers were bicycle makers, even a pram maker, companies set up specifically to make bike scooters, and then eventually the British motorcycle industry. So do enjoy the many designs, the many colours, and the wonderful images of a world 50 years ago. An exciting period of my life that I shared with a British scooter. So now you know about my large collection of British scooters, and if we have time to have a chat tonight, you won't have to pass any comments or even smile and ask why. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to now invite Don Fardon to officially open the exhibition. I'm going to apologise, we've got an event on upstairs, as I said earlier, which I now need to go and attend. So I'm going to disappear and leave Don in your capable hands to open the exhibition. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi. I have been very fortunate in my lifetime and very lucky. One of the things that started to look off was the fact that I spent my teenage years during the best 2 decades, in my opinion, in history, the 60s and the 70s. The war was over, rationing had finished, and youth was beginning to find its feet. And the second thing I was lucky about was I was able to start a pop band in '63 that was fortunate enough to have a hit record that first of us took us on tour all around Britain, and then eventually around Europe, and later on around the world. But one of the things we found that when I went to Europe, people used to say, "Where do you come from?" Because they thought that everybody who played a guitar and sang came from Liverpool. And I used to say, "Coventry, where's that?" they used to say. And I used to say, "Well, do you know where Birmingham is?" "Oh, we've heard of Birmingham, and we've heard of Stratford-on-Avon." They knew where that was because of the Bard, but didn't know where Coventry was. And then when I said things to them, well, I said, "We are the Detroit of Great Britain. We've got Jaguar cars here, we've got Humber, Hillman, Sunbeam, Talbot, Standard and Triumph motorcycles." They'd all heard of those, so it just shows what a great legacy that this city has produced. And I think it's brilliant, and this is why I've got such an affinity with this place. It's wonderful to have something here in the city where you can bring your children, and now in my case as well, my grandchildren, to have a look round and look at Coventry's heritage, of which we should be proud. I think it's absolutely fantastic. As is this new exhibition that's going to take place that's opening now. So I once again would like you to put your hands together and say thank you to this gentleman for all his efforts. And I now declare this exhibition open.
Wow, that was wonderful, Robin. I couldn't have written it better myself. Did you join it?
You're very welcome. Gentlemen would like to take our photos.
Oh, right.
Can you record a new shaking hands?
Right.
Well, I'm a bit fascinated.
Not in the middle, because they're going to shake hands.
Rubber gloves.
No, don't you get all
Inside photo. Can you just look at each other while you're shaking hands?
You ought to be beside Robin, really, because without you, he couldn't have done any of this. Robin, can I have a little bit of video of you two together?
He doesn't want me in the photograph.
I certainly do. You're a big name. Right. Lovely.